physical attraction is not important. I think it's very important.
But let's be honest, right? Total freedom.
Total freedom.
William Wallace.
This is a disaster of episode 2. We'll start again.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we are, episode 2. Uno numero dos. That made no sense.
No, sorry, I'm gonna cut across straight
Go on,
off.
straight away.
We
Get
want
out of
anyone who can see us on YouTube. I went on a 10-minute holiday.
it. And absolutely scalded herself.
That's all I
So
want
that's
to
why he's
say.
always
Just
sitting there
putting it
looking-
out there in case anyone's watching. Yeah. Okay.
He's always looking like Larry the Lobster
Take
for
the
today's
reins.
episodes. But yeah, so this is episode 2. Obviously episode 1 came out last week. Thank you to everyone who did watch it. If you did enjoy it, even better. Thanks for everyone who has reached out to myself or Zoe and said they enjoyed it. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you enjoyed this episode just as much. And if this is your first episode that you're tuning into, hello,
Welcome.
my name's Aidan.
I'm Zoe.
And together we are...
I don't know. It's Aidan.
No, I'm only messing. No.
That's so cringy.
We're not like that, don't worry. But no, if you do tune into this episode for the first time and you do really enjoy it, don't forget to check out episode
Leg it.
1. And yeah, there'll be plenty more episodes to come. This will definitely be a weekly thing. So last week we talked about love languages, and I thought it was a pretty good discussion.
Yeah.
This week it's a bit more of a weird one, I think. It's relationships versus being single. And I know all you dirty-minded people are probably thinking the one thing, what's the big difference? And we're going to keep it PG, okay? So we're going to keep it PG. So myself and Zoe are going to go through some pros of being in a relationship and some cons of being in a relationship, or kind of more so things where, you know, what I miss about being single, if you want to put it that way. So you have your list, I have my list. Who wants to go first, you or me?
I think we should both, like, you say one pro,
Mm-hmm.
I say a pro.
Well, I want to explain why I make it
Yeah,
a
you
pro.
can explain your
Yeah,
pro.
that's what I said. Who's going first, though?
Oh, right, sorry. I thought you meant you said all yours and then I say all mine.
No.
You go first. I want to hear
Okay,
yours. I'm
so-
eager to hear yours.
We'll start off with the pros, I think, because, I mean, without anyone realising... Okay. We'll go with the pros first because we're obviously in a relationship, so it's only best that we start off with the pros. And hopefully there are more pros than cons, and this isn't the end of Happily Ever After. So my first pro, I mean, I suppose it's a bit of an obvious one, but a main pro for me in being in a relationship versus being single is you have that support system there. And what I mean by that is you just always have that person in your life who will support you no matter what. Are you done?
Go.
Are you done?
Yeah,
You're starting
I'm
already.
finished.
We are literally 3 minutes
I'm
into
not.
episode 2
I'm
and
not.
you're distracting me. For the audio listeners, go onto YouTube and see what Zoe was doing into the camera. Just all about her. But can I get back to my point now? Look, you've ruined my train of thought already. But no, seriously, I think everyone in a relationship can agree that their other half, their partner, whatever you want to call them, is a massive support system. And no matter what you're going through, whether it's the highs, the lows, when you're in a relationship, you have, you know, each other's back, you know, emotionally in that support system. And I think it goes beyond emotionally. I think it goes like, you know, we talked about in the last episode my Aidan moments.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need reminded of what they are.
Watch episode 1.
Go back and listen to them. But I do get very ambitious sometimes, and in fairness to Zoe, she supports me no matter what. No matter how ridiculous they sound within reason.
They are ridiculous.
She can say that now that I'm done with them. She supports me no matter what. Or whether it's something like me wanting to go back to a sport, or me picking up a new hobby or something, or me changing job, anything, Zoe would support me no matter what I do, and make sure I do it to the best of my ability. So I think, you know, when you're single, you don't really have that. I'm sure people will say, oh, you know, well, your mates have your back, but I mean, your mates will support you no matter what you do in a way, but I think it's a different type of support in a relationship.
I agree. That's a great pro.
Inspiring words from Zoe here.
That is a great pro,
getting
though.
into it. Right, go on, you give me one of your pros then. And I'm just going to sit here and listen now.
What? Okay. Someone to console in.
Console with.
Yes.
Okay, go on. Tell me more about it.
Like if you ever need any. God. You can cut this out, yeah.
No. Why are you cutting this out?
Don't know what console.
Oh my god, she doesn't know what console means. You're the one who wrote this down. I said to Zoe, go and make a list of pros and cons about being in a relationship versus being in a con.
My brain is not working.
And she came back with that and goes, I actually don't even know what console means. It means that, like, I'll explain Zoe's pro. Good pro, Zoe, right? You just sit there and look pretty, right? You just sit there and look pretty. I think what Zoe means, right?
Are you actually?
I'm gonna have to say it because you're not looking like you're gonna start talking, are you?
I am going to talk.
Right, go on.
What is it?
It just means like the console. With,
Confined.
no.
Oh, this is what it was.
You're
I
making
kept
up
saying the
words.
wrong word.
Yeah.
Someone that you can always go to when you're feeling really down.
Yes.
Or there we go.
Right.
Okay, so when you're feeling really down, you'll always have someone to go to.
Yeah.
So you can. We have Zeke in the back here. You can see him.
This is a disaster of episode 2. Will we start again? Okay, we had to pause that for a brief intervention as our dog woke up and was walking around the room, but we are back. Zoe, you were talking about
console.
being in a relationship and having someone to console with.
Just always someone that's going to have your back. Like, for example, if I ever feel down or if I had an argument with someone, like, you're just always going to be there and you're always going to listen and help me and just listen pretty much. I think that's the main thing. Like,
yeah, I think I think we both kind of have similar points as point number 1 with like it's a support system there, and like I think yours is more so this shows like the female versions, like the emotional support that a partner provides is like you don't get that from anything else other than a relationship.
Yeah, I think with females it's always going to be emotional, isn't
Yeah,
it? They feel emotional all the time.
I think even like female friend groups have more of an emotional support than like lad friend groups, if that makes sense.
Which is sad.
It is sad, and I think it's something that is trying to be changed a lot when, you know, there's loads of campaign, and I'm not going to go off topic about, you know, it's important for men to speak up and speak out about their feelings, and I 100% agree, of course. But I just think females in itself, it's gas how like I was like, oh, support system, and you're there thinking like someone to console with.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing, but it's completely different how our
mindsets, yeah.
Exactly how our minds work, and that just shows the difference between a male and female. But I think that is a really good one.
Are you going to continue with pros, or are we going to go into cons?
No,
or
I think we'll do all the pros first,
okay,
and then we'll talk about the cons.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that is a really good one. Like, I think there's times everyone can relate in a relationship where they've been really down, and it might not be for a reason in the relationship. Like, of course,
it could be anything.
It could be anything. It could be something to do
family.
with it could be something family related. You've fallen out with a friend. Something's happened in work. A death has occurred. You just don't know.
Just having someone there.
Having that someone who's not a friend in a relationship to, you know, be able to sit down, have a cry, do whatever, and they just, as you say, console you.
Yeah.
Or to console with, sorry. I mean, you're just not going to get that.
No.
Without a relationship, pretty much. And I think it is a really big thing about relationships that you have that person, because maybe there's people in relationships, you know, maybe there's lads out there or girls out there who are like afraid to cry in front of their partner, or afraid to express their feelings, and I think it's something that does come with how long you're with each other. I think maybe like if we were only together a year, and all of a sudden like I just burst out crying about something random, you know, it wouldn't be like, oh, get this weirdo away from me, but I don't think it'd be as likely to happen.
Depends on the person, doesn't it? Because I think you did first start crying, but we were only like
me
3 months together. But that was because of your anxiety.
Oh yeah.
That would be another episode.
That's a whole different episode. That's a whole different episode.
But yeah, I was like, it was so early on, and I was like, whoa.
I think that that's different. Yeah, I think but I think like it's like a comfortability thing as well. Like obviously that's why our relationship is so good, because I felt early on that I could come to you with an emotional problem.
Yeah.
But maybe in some relationships,
a lot of people wouldn't.
Yeah, some relationships now, people are probably still afraid to cry in front of their partner, especially men. This whole manly thing, it needs to go.
Yeah.
You know, you heard it here first. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry, boys.
Okay, you go.
Okay,
Number
my one.
two.
So mine's kind of going off that a little bit, but still kind of keeping within the topic of friends and stuff like that. And I think a pro of having a relationship is, and some people might actually see this as a con now that I say it, is having a larger but closer friend group. So this example is something funny.
You
So
said I can have that one.
no, this is my one. This is my one. I said this to Zoe earlier on. I says this is for me. I'm taking this one. You have your 3 pros. Let me talk about my pros, all right?
Threw me right off there.
No, it's not on your list.
I know, but
There you go. It's not on your list. This is my one. I said it to you.
you said I have one for you. That's a good one.
Yeah.
You are.
And I took it because you didn't want it.
I didn't
So
want-
anyways, I'm having it now.
Okay.
A larger, closer friend group. So I think like, okay, to not sit here and tell you about how me and Zoe met because no one probably cares. We were kind of within the same friend group, but obviously us getting together, you know, the kind of lad friends that I was with and the girl friends that Zoe was friends with kind of came as one, you know, larger friend group. And I think anyone in that friend group is listening now. There's loads of little mini relationships that have occurred and happened in that friend group, and it's only made the friend group closer and
Yeah,
tighter.
there's so many of us.
There is a lot, and I know some people kind of have this thing where, oh, you know, you keep your friend group small.
Ours is huge.
We're not really like that though. Like we're so
No.
welcoming to anyone, like random people join our friend
Anyone.
group.
Everyone always says that though about our friend group. Everyone's
Yeah.
always like especially for girls. I feel for a new girl coming into a group, it's hard, but all the girls in our group are really, really welcoming.
Mm.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
a good
that
one.
is that. I think we had this conversation obviously off camera, as Zoe was pointing out when we were talking about these pros and cons, about what we were going to talk about. But I was saying that, you know, I was obviously a lot closer to the lads, in my friend group, and I asked her, do you know, if you never got in a relationship with me, do you think you'd be as close to some of the lads in the friend group as you are now? And I don't think you would. I think you'd still be close to them.
I think I'd
but-
be close because I did know a few of them before I even met you, but I don't think I'd be as close because then when
No.
I start seeing you,
Mm.
I was out more, even without the girls,
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah,
and on nights out with you, and starting to make closer relationships with all the lads.
exactly. And I think even like if you don't take our relationship into it, like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you'll get to know their friends as
And
the
family,
relationship
yeah.
and family. That's so closer, larger friend group, whatever. You know, you'll start to become friends with their siblings, all that sort of stuff. Again, if you're single, you just have your close knit of friends, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Whereas
yeah.
when you
don't
get
really
with
like
someone,
mingling.
what?
I find when you're single, you don't really like
No, like
mingling.
you're not gonna go into a friend group and just be like, these are gonna be my new friend
Yeah,
group. Like
yeah.
it's different. I think when you're in a relationship, you get to know your partner's friends, and you almost build a bond and a friendship with them. And I think a lot of people I know have built up like incredible friendships with, like, you know, their partner's brothers or sisters or extended family, like cousins, stuff like that, and it almost becomes a part of your family.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
yeah,
I've gained a lot of friends from being with you.
you're welcome. I'm just so popular. No, I'm only messing.
Right, we'll move on. My one.
Yeah, go for it. So we second pro.
You never feel lonely.
That's a good one for you. And we talked about this off camera. Go on, you talk about it.
I tend to. So when I was single, I think I was fine with being alone.
Mm-hmm.
But then ever since I got in a relationship, like from being with you, like we're together 7 years now, constantly having you there, that when you leave and you're on work for like one night, I'm like, oh my God, like
You really
I
struggle.
don't sleep well that night. Like I
Yeah.
really don't. And I have every intention. I'm like, this is great. I'm going to have the best night's sleep ever with Zeke. We're going to have the best night's sleep. And then I just end up staying awake all night or just tossing and turning all night. And I think I love my own company, but I get bored really easily.
Yeah, you really struggle with loneliness, and I think it is a bit of boredom in there as well.
I think it's loneliness and boredom. But yeah, I think like if you were to just leave for a week, I'd go off my rails.
It's so different because when Zoe leaves for a week, I have the best week ever.
Well, I say for the first 3 days you're living your life.
Yeah.
But then after about 3 or 4 days, you're like, oh, okay, kind of miss you now. All right, so he's lying to me all the time.
No, obviously I do, but like you said it in the last episode again, and I'm not going to keep referencing the last episode, so you just go and watch it or anything like that. But I am an introvert. Like I
Yeah.
love my own company.
Yeah.
I'll sit in my room watching TV all day long. And obviously I miss Zoe when she goes away, and you'd go away without me more than
I
I'd
go
go away
away a
without you.
lot. Aiden never goes on holiday.
Yeah.
Like I'm away all the time.
Even festivals, stuff like that, like Zoe would go away with like that friend group we talked about, and I won't really go because it's just not my scene. So those 2-3 days, you know, she's not lonely per se. 'Cause she's obviously with a friend group, but
Yeah,
as
I'd
she
never
touched
get
on,
lonely there. Yeah.
as she touched on there, like in my job now, I do work nights. So if I'm doing a week of nights, Zoe will really feel it.
Oh yeah.
After the second night, she's like, "Oh, calling sick to work."
No, don't do that.
Oh,
Just don't work. You don't
have
need
to go
money.
in. Don't do it. Don't do it. Calling sick.
No,
God.
I don't.
You haven't called in sick in ages, Aidan. Just calling sick
They won't
tonight.
notice.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
So
But no, yeah, I do struggle with that, and I feel like a lot of people, I don't know
let me
again
ask you
if
a
it's
question
girls.
though. Let me ask you a question though. From a person who struggles with loneliness per se, what would your advice be to other couples who might struggle with loneliness? Like, how do you get by? Like, so say there's other couples out there and there's another girlfriend or boyfriend that feels the same when their partner goes away. How have you learned to kind of cope with it? Because you used to be really bad. Now you're not
Oh,
as
I
bad.
used to be really bad. Now I just suck it up. It's
You know
just
what?
like just put
I'll
on your
answer
big
that
boy
question
pants.
for get a dog.
Well, yeah, true.
Get a dog.
I
to keep
have
her
Zeke
company.
now, so now I'm not as bad because I have someone in the bed with me because we let him sleep in our bed. But well, not when we're both in it, but for anyone struggling, like I just think you just kind of have to suck it up, like just like literally suck it up. It's only gonna last a few days.
Yeah.
You know, now for anyone just long distance, fair play to them because
Yeah.
I really couldn't do that. Like
Yeah.
I'd struggle with that. Like, but yeah, I think you just have to suck it up. It's not like they're going to work. You're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be like, no, you're not going to work.
She's tried it.
You know, but even holidays, like I choose to go on holiday.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
like, therefore, I'm choosing to be lonely for a few nights.
Yeah, and it's not like it's a trait with you where you're like, oh no, I'm not gonna go away without Aidan because I'll feel
I'm
lonely.
not obsessed. Like,
No, it's not like that at all. Like, but I don't know. I just think like one, I think you're in a job now where you're up early most mornings, so you are tired going to bed. Whereas maybe in previous years of our relationship,
yeah, I would have been sitting up most
you'd be
of the
sitting up
night.
all night, and when you're sitting up all night, you get bored, and you get bored, you overthink, and when you overthink, it's just an absolute disaster.
And girls love overthinking.
Exactly.
And it's not even bad overthinking, it's just loneliness.
It's just, yeah, I'll come home after nights wrecked, and she'll be like, do you even love me? I'm going, what?
I haven't done that in years.
Remember 2 weeks ago, I left for the gym, and I said I love you, and you didn't say it back. 2 weeks ago, what? Yeah. I mustn't have heard you, Zoe. All right, Aidan.
I don't do that.
No, that's not a specific example, but that's how overthinking
I don't love him
happens.
that much.
That's how overthinking happens. You just start thinking mad stuff.
Yeah, you really do. Your mind goes wild that night. Right. You go on to the next one.
Right, this is
How
my
many
favorite
do you have,
one.
actually?
What?
You have 3?
I have 3.
Okay.
And this is my third one. And this is my favorite one. I didn't tell you about this one when we talked about it off camera. So the biggest pro for me, and I'm talking from me personally, this happened to me personally, and I'm not bigging up my GF here beside me, but you become a better person, a better version of yourself. I think so.
I think you became a lot better person of yourself.
I agree.
And I don't even mean that in a bad way, because there was absolutely nothing wrong with you when we first
I'm not saying
we first got
okay,
together.
hang on a minute.
No, but I think I think you've matured from a boy to a man. You lost your puberty. You dropped.
Thanks.
What's it called?
I'm not talking.
You lost your puberty.
What? I lost my puberty.
What is it? You went through puberty.
Yeah, when I was 14. So
Became a man with me.
All right, Jesus.
No,
Christ.
but I think I agree with that.
I think that's like, and again, I can kind of speak from my own relationship, but maybe other relationships can agree. And if you can agree, let me know. Drop a comment on the video if you're watching on YouTube. But I think you really do become a better version of yourself in every sense of the way, because, you know, when you're single, you've no one to pull you up on your bad habits and the stuff you're doing wrong. Because you're single, you do whatever the hell you want anyways. But I think like there's certain things when you're in a relationship, and I think it's the same with you, like I might have pulled you up on something that you used to do.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you pulled me up on something that I used to do, and we got out of those bad habits or those bad traits that we had as a person who was single, who kind of didn't really give a shit, and who kind of just looked after number one, which was themselves. And that ultimately makes you a better person. And when you're single, you don't have that, person to really pull you up and go, you need to stop doing that, because
Yeah.
that's really rude, or that's not nice, or
Yeah.
exactly stuff like that.
I know one
Go for it. Here we go.
that
I'm about to get roasted.
I can really, and it really irritates me when I first got with Aidan, when we, he would call babies it.
Oh my God.
Like I think we brought it up in episode 1 as well about my nieces and the teddies, but I have Aidan. All my nieces have been born. He knows them their whole life. To be like, it's so beautiful. I'd be like, Aidan, you can't call my niece it. Like, that is so mean.
It's just like, but that's just
Eh.
yeah, but I don't mean to say it.
You would have said it, but like,
I did
but
say
now
it.
he doesn't. I've pulled him up on it so many times. I'm like, that is the biggest insult to a parent, calling their child it. And he was just like, oh my God, I just can't stop saying it.
I know.
But that's one of them.
That's just me.
And that's so silly.
being
Like, it's just a silly thing.
It's
like,
so silly. It's so silly. But
But
I
yeah.
think like just, I don't know. Hopefully other relationships can agree. Maybe some relationships, they bring the worst out in people though.
I was just about to say that because you were like, oh, we bring out the best in each other, and I was going to
Just watch your nails scraping off.
sorry. And I was saying that maybe not, in some relationships they don't bring out the best in each other. Some relationships might look at this and be like, maybe stop it to think that like, oh, do I actually bring the best out of my partner?
Yeah.
No, maybe I don't. Maybe I need to take a step back and reassess the relationship. Like, you know.
Like I think some relationships, they'll say like, and like again, I sound like a parrot here. We touched on it in episode 1 where, we asked ourselves like, do we think you should change who you are for your partner? And we kind of both agreed and disagreed. Like at the end of the day, be you, and that's the person who your partner fell in love with, and don't change it. But I think there are relationships out there where the boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, the partner, will try and change the other partner like too severely.
Yeah, like
and
mold them.
Yeah, that's the perfect word. Like mold them into the perfect boyfriend. And if they do one thing that they don't believe in or they don't agree with, they like snap and like, you can't do that. Like, that's not what my boyfriend does, or that's not what my girlfriend does.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong, and that's how toxic relationships are formed, because you're constantly nitpicking at the other person and telling them every time they do something wrong, instead of saying, hey, you keep doing this. And like Zoe made a very perfect example. It could be something as small as just something you say.
Yeah, just one little
just some
word
little small thing, and I'm oblivious to even saying it. But I'm oblivious to even saying it, sorry, but after 3 or 4 times of me saying it, she pulls me to the side and goes, Aidan, you need to stop saying that. It's actually very offensive. And I'm like, geez, I didn't even know I was saying it.
Yeah, like something so simple.
But like the minute I said it, if you would have pulled me in public and went, don't call it it. I just said, don't call it it.
Yeah.
Don't call her it, or don't call him
Yeah.
it. You should have said, there I am saying it again. Back to my old ways. But like, then that's when it turns toxic. Like, there's a time and place to pull someone up on their bad habits.
And how you say it.
You don't raise your voice. You sit them down as two adults and say, and we've had loads of these conversations, and this could be a whole episode in itself, where we like, you do this thing and it really annoys me. I'd appreciate if you didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
We've done loads, and it's only made us better. And I'm not saying that, oh, I've told her once and now if she does it again, I have the right to rip her head off. No, I'd just be like, remember I told you that thing you did is really annoying, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, but that'll make the two of you better people.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so.
I think so. And I really, really believe that's the biggest thing about being in relationships. For me personally,
communication
is obviously communication, but it really does bring the better version of yourself out. And it gets rid of all your bad habits and enhances your good habits. And that's essentially what a healthy relationship does, in my opinion, is exactly that. Gets rid of all your bad habits that you've gained from being single and not really giving a shit. And then also highlighting what you do really well and saying you need to keep doing that. And
I agree.
And it'll make you a better person. So
okay,
that's my biggest pro.
My last one is reliance.
Okay, go on.
So you're always going to have someone to rely on.
Okay.
Like, no matter what. Like, I would never, like, you'll never judge me.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what I come to you, like, doing, even if I was in the wrong,
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'll always be here for you. Now, you'd still probably tell me I was in the wrong, but you'd always be like, I'm here for you. You'd listen. Like, you always have someone to rely on.
I think as well as that, it's, you know, if you're stuck, if you're in trouble and you need help,
Yeah.
regardless of how big or small it is, your partner is there to get you out of that hole.
You're not going to question, if I rang you and was like, I need you to come here now and give me money.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I'm on my way. You wouldn't be like, why do you need that money?
And again,
why are you in trouble? Like, you know, not that I'm ever in trouble with money, but like, that's just an example. You wouldn't be like, why?
But again, like, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, if my partner rang me and was like, I need you to drop everything and come here now, and your first question is, for what?
I'd literally panic and just run out the door.
I think that's a bad trait to have. And if you are one of them people who's listening to this, hopefully you can continue to listen to this podcast and kind of improve on that. Because I can honestly say there probably was a point in my life where I would be like, oh, what does she want?
I think we've all done it. But even like we're saying, like, if you pick up the phone and was like, I need you now, you need to come, I'd run out the door and get in the car.
You just be like,
and then probably ring you and be like, what's going on?
Yeah,
like, what's happening? Yeah, like, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But would never question the running out the door part. Yeah. Would just go.
But I think, like, even emergency as a society, and again, we can talk about our own relationship on this, is that, you know, you have, it almost goes back to your first point, or was it my first point? I can't remember.
I think two of mine kind of align.
Yeah, but like, yeah, they're slightly separate, but they kind of align as well. But when you talk about reliance, like, you have me to rely on, it means that, like, if you're not sure of something, you can come to me for advice or an opinion or something like that. And it's the exact same thing. Like, how many times have I had, as I said, an Aidan moment, and I've gone to you and said something, you know, as much as you've supported me, you've also said, maybe you should go at this thing.
But I'd never stop you from doing it. I'd be like, just do it and try it.
And I think there's certain things you can only go to your partner about that you can't go to your immediate friend group. Like, if you were single and you had something going on in your mind, you'd kind of like, do I tell the lads about this? Maybe they'll judge me. Maybe they'll laugh at me. Maybe they'll think I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to your partner and tell them this, you can rely on them to basically say, you know, have your back, to, as you said perfectly, not judge you, and hopefully steer you in the right direction.
And also, you know that, like, well, no matter what you go and tell them in confidence, they'll never tell anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, if my friend said to me, "Oh, don't tell anyone," I'll go and tell you.
Yeah.
Like, I'd always tell you.
Yeah.
No, depending on the situation.
Well, you know, I'd never say it back. It's just to get it off your chest. Yeah.
But, like, if I told you something, you'll never go to your friend and be like, Aidan said this. Oh, Zoe said this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a good one.
I think it is a good one. I think yours are very similar. What were yours again?
Mine were
emotional support, like consolidation.
Console.
Yeah, consolidation. So that's reliance, like emotional support, reliance. Yeah.
I'm feeling lonely.
Mine
are all like really emotional.
Kind of all.
I'm not an emotional person.
And mine were a support system, a larger, closer friend group, and then I'm not just bigging myself up, but I think the best one is, excuse me, you become a better version of yourself. I think we can both agree that's the biggest one. If there's any pros that you can think of in your relationship, send them in, and we can go through them in another episode very briefly, or the episode after this. We'll wait and see. But we're gonna get into the nitty gritty stuff now.
I don't know how many you have, because maybe you enjoyed me too. But I genuinely couldn't think of any.
There you go. Zoe's just the perfect saint, isn't she?
No, it's genuinely, like, I'm like, in my relationship, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. So I don't see the difference between in a relationship and single. Then, my only con is total freedom.
Total freedom.
William Wallace. William Wallace. No, I don't know if anyone's ever seen Braveheart. William Wallace.
Oh, you said it enough times. Oh my god.
I only have freedom, like, and I don't mean that as in like
you're a slave.
You don't give me any freedom.
Well, in relationships in general, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like, just like if I want to go on holidays when I'm single, I don't have to come to you and be like,
you don't have to mention it to anyone.
Not not that you would ever be like, no, you're not going on holidays, or like you're not controlling at all. But like, I would have to still run it by it as a bit of respect to be like, I'm gonna go on holidays with the girls next week. Is that good? You'd be like, yeah, no problem, go ahead. And just silly things like that. Like, I have one more. Oh no.
Come on. No, hang on, wait. I'll say something.
Yeah.
I think instead of the word freedom, I think the best word for it is like, or when you are single, is that it teaches you to be independent in the sense that like you don't have anyone to rely on, which is the opposite of what your pro was, in the sense that if you need to make a decision or you need to do something, you need to make that decision yourself. You know,
Yeah.
so obviously you can consult family, you can consult friends if it's a serious issue. But at the end of the day, if you want to go out, even if you talk financially, if you want to go out and buy a new car or you want to go out and travel the world, there's no one stopping you.
Yeah.
You know, sort of way.
That's what I mean. Mine's not even that serious. It's not even that deep. It's literally
Yeah.
just like if I want to go
But
on
I
holidays.
think like our relationship works so well. Yeah, Zoe just goes on holidays all the time.
I
But
do,
think
but
our
like
relationship works so well because we are very independent within the relationship, i.e., just to get into examples, like Zoe's been to Africa without me.
yeah,
You know,
across
sort
the
of way.
world, like
She's been across the world, she's gone to festivals, goes away,
I'm
all that
always
type of
away.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, some relationships, you know, they never leave each other's side and they do absolutely everything together. Like, how dare you go on a holiday without me? And I think that's
Or
a
you're
bit,
not allowed to go on holiday without
yeah, I
me.
think that's a bit unhealthy. Like, he's always been to girls' trips and everything like that, you know, sort of way. Like,
I like being
and
social.
that's not to say that I'm not allowed to go on lads' trips. I just don't go on them because, like I said, I'm an introvert.
Like his friends go on holidays all the time, but
yeah,
it's
just not my
just
scene.
not your scene.
It's
They would
just not my
drink and all,
scene.
so he just
Yeah,
doesn't
I
go.
don't drink.
But yeah, I think that's literally all I.
But
I do have one more, but you go and say your
I'll
one.
say this one last thing before you move to your second con is that I just think like if you are in a relationship and you feel like you're almost tied to that person, I think, you know, a conversation needs to be had where like a sense of trust needs to be put in there and to say, okay, well, the lads are going to England to watch a match, and if your partner is the person, and again, I know I'm using like I'm saying that the girl is the problem. I'm not saying that sometimes the boy is the problem, but I'm just saying it from my perspective. This is how my mind works. But say the lads are going to a match across the pond to England, and your girlfriend won't let you go. That's an issue, and I think that's a serious issue in the sense that like it'll only get worse from there, and you won't be able to do anything. And it's gas how like, you know, there's this culture among lads where we like joke and slag each other about, oh, does your missus let you out? Or someone shows up that they haven't seen in ages and they say, oh, is missus finally let him out of the house?
Yeah.
It's all lad banter, but
Yeah.
there are genuine couples like that. And I just think that is so unhealthy for longevity and overall happiness and well-being.
Yeah, I'd
And
be
I think,
encouraging you to go out.
yeah, like get out, I'm sick of the sight.
I'm like,
yeah.
will you go out with the lads? Go text them or do
She's
something.
honestly even saying that, Aid, you can't sit in your room all day playing Xbox and PlayStation. Go out and do something with the lads.
Well, the lads are going on holidays. Why don't you go? He's like, no. I'm like, go.
No, but seriously, like I do see my lads' friends, just not on those occasions.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of an introvert, yeah. But again, last time I was saying, if you are in a relationship like that, I think a conversation kind of needs to be had. And again, like this could be something maybe a listener could submit and we could talk about in more detail, and they can use a specific example whether their partner, male or female, won't let them do a certain thing. And I think a lot of people go into a relationship and lose that bit of independence, and I think it's really, really unhealthy.
Yeah.
Before I'll go into my con separately, you go into your second one there.
Oh, you're gonna. How many do you have?
I have two.
I won't forget it. Go on, you go.
Okay.
Well, unless you have it.
No, my one is something I'm really passionate about.
I already know what it is. Food.
Yes. In a relationship, deciding what to eat for dinner is up there with the most frustrating things on this planet Earth.
It actually
I
is.
swear to God, I don't know how many arguments have started between me and Zoe, and probably other relationships.
Not arguments, disagreements.
Arguments have started when we're trying to decide what to have for dinner or what takeaway to get. And this is how the conversation goes. You ready? I've rehearsed this. Alright, Zoe, we're going to get something to eat. We're going to order. What do you want? I'll have anything. Okay, what do you want though? Is there anything specific you want? No, I'll just have anything. Okay, so do you want pizza? No, I don't want pizza. Okay, so what do you want? Like I said, I'll have anything. Anything, just order it. I'll have anything. Okay, so no pizza. What about, would you get Chinese? No, I don't want Chinese. Well, what do you want? I told you, Aidan, I'll have anything. And my mind just absolutely explodes. You said you'd have anything and I've listed two things.
I take my takeaways very seriously.
Yeah.
Because I train and I'm on a program. And I've been on this program for 15 weeks.
But I'm not talking in the last 15 weeks. I'm just talking the last 7 years.
Well, yeah. His mom.
Oh, here we go.
His mom for Christmas bought us. So we lived in Aidan's mom's house for a while. And his mom bought us a dice as a Christmas present, and it had burgers on one side, pizza, Chinese, Indian, and chipper.
Something like that,
Yeah. And she was like, "You argue too much over what you're getting for food, so just roll the dice."
It's actually a really good idea.
We still haven't used
we've
it
yet
yet.
to use it, but what I will say is, and I showed one of the lads this the other day, I've made an ingenious plan.
Yes, you actually have.
So what I do, and I'm about to drop some relationship gold for all you relationships out there who struggle with this as well. When we're really picky, so like we're not as bad anymore because, like you said, like you only get a takeaway once a week, so you almost know like I literally will have anything. Like I'll just have anything. But there was times early on in a relationship, a lot of couples go through it where you're just eating like a pig and you're having takeaways all the time. Every relationship goes through it. But there was a time where we were like killing each other over what we were having to eat. And what I decided to do was I made a list. I swear to God, this is the extent I got to.
Do you have it in your notes, actually?
I have it still there. I have a photo of it. So basically, when we can't decide what we want to eat, I have a set list of basically 30 to 40 restaurants, everything in our area. And I'll make that list and I'll put it in my notes. So I'll like copy and paste it from my photos, put it in my notes, and then we'll both take turns deleting ones off it until we get down to a final two. So say, for example, I'll hand the phone to Zoe and I'll say, right, delete 5 takeaways off that list. She deletes 5. I have no idea what 5 she's deleted. I delete 5.
And
we go back and forth.
It's a good game because I'm like, what did you delete? And he's like, I'm not telling you, just delete. And I'm like, what
and
did
we
you
go
delete?
back and forth until we get to like a top 2. And it's always like a pizza or
Always
a
the
burger or something
same.
like that. And then I'll be like, right, 3, 2, 1, we say what we want. 3, 2, 1, and then we say it. And whatever we say, we get. Now, if we say the 2 different things, then we just come to a compromise. But at least it's only talking about those 2 takeaways. It's not like, oh, well, I actually don't know what I want. Like, we both make arguments for why we want a certain thing. And I'm telling you now, if you were in a relationship or whatever and you have that problem, the next time you're ordering a takeaway and you can't decide what to eat, make a list of your favorite 10, 15, 20 takeaways.
I think we do have about 21.
Oh, I think we have more.
Really?
I think we have more because more places have opened up nearby us.
Yeah, true.
But make a list of like 10, 15, 20 places and take turns deleting 2 or 3 off until you get down to like the final 1 or final 2. I'm telling you now, it is an absolute game changer.
It is. That's very true, though. It's probably the one thing that we disagree on all the time.
But it is a con of a relationship because when you're single, you're just like,
you just order whatever you want.
If I'm in the mood for fish fingers and chips or chicken nuggets and chips for dinner, I'm just gonna have them. I don't have to tell anyone. Yeah, I don't know why I said fish fingers.
I've never seen you eat fish fingers.
I don't even like fish, but you know what I mean. If I just want something quick like a frozen pizza or whatever, I just make it.
Yeah.
I don't have to make food for anyone else.
You don't have to offer.
I don't have to, ring you when you're on your way from work and be like, oh, I'm making something to eat. Like, do you want some? Because then if you say yeah, I'm like,
Aidan once told me that making me food was a chore.
It is a chore.
I was like, what?
Right, come on. You're next.
Cleanliness.
I think we can all agree that's the biggest con in a relationship, but go on.
Cleanliness. Now, I don't mean Aidan's dirty or anything like that, but if I clean the room or if I clean my house, what's the finger up for?
I'm about to make a point.
Okay, if I clean and I go to work and come home, I know that bed is going to be left the way it was. The room's going to be left the way it was.
Yeah.
But you...
Versus in a relationship.
Yeah.
It could change.
Yeah. Someone comes home and gets into bed, ruins everything, eats in the room or whatever.
Yeah. It could. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're in a relationship and you have the bedroom or the sitting room or whatever room spotless, and your partner comes home and like gets changed or makes food or something and leaves it in a different state.
Puts dirty laundry outside the laundry bag.
We're getting specific now. All right, sorry. But it is very frustrating. Whereas when you're single, like if I make my bed and leave for 4 hours, I'm coming home to exactly how I left it.
And it's just nice knowing that. Oh yeah, I cleaned my room. Well,
there's probably
I get to enjoy it.
There's probably a lot of single people out there who like kind of rent with other people, and as much as you're single, you're sharing it with flatmates. We're kind of really specifically talking about
being in a relationship.
Yeah, being in a relationship and specifically living together.
Yeah, but even people who aren't in a relationship and I live with roommates, they'll still even agree with that.
Yeah,
because they'll be like I have a lot of clients that like obviously probably live in shared accommodation and they're just like, just the dishes and all, I just can't keep up with with clients.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have our dog is awake here in case you hear little
he's alright
snoring noises.
But yeah, no, I think that definitely is a con, obviously, being in a relationship. And I think like, I don't know, I feel like females are more
Not necessarily. Not. I've met some females that are not like. I don't mean their hygiene is
They're
bad.
not
It's
as tidy.
just tidiness. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Some men are really tidy, but I'm not saying you're not tidy. It's just.
I'll even say I'm not tidy.
You're
Well,
not.
I'll tell
No
you what it
one's
is, right?
tidy.
I'm the typical man. Like, I'll clean everything inside. As in,
Yeah.
like, I won't remove everything from the desk. I'll, like, clean around it. Like, if there's stuff on the desk, I'll clean around those spots, or I'll dust around that spot. Zoe, like, nearly sellotapes everything to the roof and just cleans everything. Like, I'll, like, tidy the room, and Zoe come up and be like, thought you were cleaning the room. And it's almost like she puts a white glove on and, like, scrapes the desk and is
I'm
like,
not that bad.
what's this, Aidan?
No, do you know
You
what?
said you were cleaning.
No, but it's silly things like we have our room's quite big. So we have a bin on Aidan's side and a bin on my side. Right? Yeah, exactly. Right. Typical man. He's like, I cleaned the room and I'll go over and his bin is empty and my bin's full. I'm like, nice one. Yeah.
Forgot.
And he's like, oh, I forgot you had a bin there. I'm like, no, you didn't. But anyways, that's my other one. What's your one?
So my second con is showing the real introvert in me is when you're single, you have infinite time to yourself. And that means if I want to sit up and play Warzone or any sort of game for 12 hours until 6 a.m., I can do that. And no one's telling me otherwise. Whereas I think when you're in a relationship, you obviously have that bit of responsibility where you're like, okay, I can't be up to all hours. Or like you said, like, we're obviously living together at the moment. And if I want to watch TV or you go to bed early, I can't watch. Well, I still do it, but I watch TV on a very low volume on the lowest brightness. Whereas if I'm single, like if I want to stay up to 3 a.m. and watch my shows or watch whatever on full volume, I can do that. Whereas, you know, when you're single, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I'm up really early every morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. every morning.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're even watching telly past 10:30, I'm like, oh, can you just keep it down?
Even when I mean infinite time for me, I even mean, like, regardless of, like, just sitting at home being lazy, like, I think, you know, it could be even, like, infinite time for my own hobbies as well. Like, if I want to go out and start a new hobby or do whatever, as you said, kind of your things, I can spend as much time with it. I can spend as much money on it as well.
Yeah.
I don't have to, like, talk to anyone. I don't have to run out and buy one. Especially, like, for, you know, older couples who maybe have when I say older couples, like older than us couples or wherever. Or not, sorry, older than us couples. Couples who have kids. Like, if we have kids and I say, do you know what, Zoe, I'm going to pick up badminton and I'm going to go to badminton 3 nights of the week. If we have kids and there's a schedule in place,
your kids come first.
And I'm going, come here, Zoe, I'm looking for 3 evenings to myself every weekend.
Not.
It's never going to happen. So I suppose, like, obviously kids is a different, I'm not saying don't have kids, but I'm just saying, like, when you're single, it's something you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
If your friends are starting a new hobby or you're kind of like, I've always wanted to do this or I've always wanted to go to this place or whatever, and you just want to do it and go, it kind of goes back to your point to saying that, like, the freedom aspect of it, independence. You just have more time to yourself, whether that's go to the gym and look after yourself. Like, you tend to do more of that when you're single.
Yeah.
And again, if I want to stay up till all hours doing whatever the hell I want, I can do that. So
yeah,
as much as I think being in a routine is better for you, and a routine comes along with being in a relationship, I'm sure there's people out there who are single who love the single life in the sense that they can stay up till 7 a.m. every night doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Did you have another con? No, you said you were two?
No, that's it.
So, I mean, we've talked about it for a bit there, but I think, like, the general consensus is, would you say it's better to be in a relationship?
I prefer being in a relationship,
I mean,
but
of
I don't
course we
know if
do,
that's
yeah.
just because we have a good relationship.
No, but I think, like, if I can think back to when I was single, like, even the relationship before you, I think it lasted about 2 years, and then I might have been single for maybe 7 or 8 months, and then we got together. I think you were kind of similar.
Yeah, I was with someone.
I don't know.
2.5, 3 years.
But the gap between when that ended,
exactly, it was the exact same gap.
Yeah,
because
it was less than a year. Would have been.
No, I want to say it was about a year.
Mine was slightly less than a year. So as much as, like, you know, there's probably people out there who say, "Oh, I love the single life" or whatever, I think don't get me wrong, there is a lot of pros to being single, and maybe there's pros that we haven't remembered because we're not single. So if you are single, I've asked people to be in a relationship to list our pros and cons. But if you are single, like, let us know what pros you love about being single that we might not have mentioned, whether that's in the YouTube comments or message us through DMs or whatever.
We could even put them up on the Instagram page to show like what other people
we
have
could do
said.
that, and obviously like it'll be completely anonymous
If you want to be.
Yeah, it can be completely
Not a
anonymous
big
as well.
deal, yeah.
But we do really want a lot of feedback from the listeners about, you know, the stuff we talk about and get their opinions on it, because at the end of the day, this podcast really just is me and your opinion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're not saying it's absolute gospel, but I think we can both agree being in a relationship.
We prefer
It.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
hope
Definitely.
so.
Yeah. I'll be like submitting in anonymously. So we hate being in a relationship.
Never mind.
Oh, don't say
I don't know what I was going to say there.
We'll swiftly move on to the next segment of the show. And if you listen to episode 1, you'll know what's coming. So we're going to go into a bit of agree or disagree. And I'm just conscious of time of this episode. So we might not stay too long on this if we can. So the way this works, if you're a first-time listener, is I'm going to read out a statement about relationships. And Zoe will say whether she agrees or disagrees and why she's made that decision. And then I'll give my opinion as well. So are you ready for number 1?
Yeah, I don't know these, by the way.
Zoe doesn't know these. So like,
I never know these.
Zoe doesn't know these, just to make it a bit better. So the first one, agree or disagree, jealousy is somewhat healthy in a relationship.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me why.
I'm not a jealous person at all.
No.
Like, I'd feel it would, if I was jealous, God bless you, like. Like, if I see a girl talking well, I suppose if I did see a girl talking to you on a night out, I'd be a bit like, what's going on there? But I wouldn't be jealous. Like, I'd be like, I think because I've...
But do you think it's somewhat healthy in a relationship? Like, it doesn't have to be healthy. Like, obviously, jealousy is not healthy in a relationship, but do you think it helps even the smallest bit?
No.
There's a show, like, you know, okay, like The Spinner, if, using your example, you see me talking to some girl on a night out, or she was talking to me or whatever, and you weren't bothered by it at all, would that say to me that does she really care? Or let me flip the script even more. If you were talking to a boy and you see me not really giving a shit or not even questioning who you're talking about, as much as I have full trust in you, I think you'd like the other person to be like, oh, who was that you were talking to? It's not them being nosy. It's just them just wondering.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, where does jealousy come in? Because is that like jealousy, or is that...
It's just jealousy as a whole.
Concern.
Like, okay, I'll give you my answer. I think somewhat healthy. I wouldn't go to that extent, but I think it's natural for it to be in a relationship.
It's natural, but I don't say it. You have to have it to have a healthy relationship.
No.
So that's why I disagree.
Yeah, I'd say it's natural to be jealous in a relationship, but it's not
to an extent.
Yeah, it's not a psychotic like, who the hell
who's
were you talking to?
Or like,
or every time you get a message, it's who's that texting you?
Yeah, or like walking by someone on a road and saying hello. Who's that? Like, like, why are you saying hello to him? It's like an old friend of mine.
Yeah,
you know, it's different to you talking to someone. Of course, like if you were talking to someone on a night out, I'd stay back and I'd be a bit like, wonder what's going on there. But again, I think that's just me having full trust in you and knowing that you'd handle yourself well.
Especially, like, I know in the nightclub scenario is like the easiest example to give, and I'll stay on that topic. Like, if someone really attractive came over and trying to chat you up, I would probably get a little bit jealous.
You would.
Not that you would entertain it.
Yeah.
But just me as a person who cares so much for your partner, I kind of would. It's not like an insecurity thing either. Like, I'm fully confident that like Zoe wouldn't leave me for this, 10 out of 10 man, whoever he is, like, sort of way.
You are my 10 out of 10.
There's the answer. No, I'm gonna get sick now. Well, I'm just saying, like, it kind of shows how much I really care for you, the fact that I did get a little bit jealous. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, I get that, and I'd be like, oh,
he
actually
be like,
cares.
who is that? Like, don't entertain that.
That's what I mean, but then it's like, is that like just concern, or is that jealousy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think
you disagree with that statement, though.
I disagree with it needing to be healthy.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's natural to get a bit like curious.
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
Right. Speaking of physical, sorry. Agree.
Not physical touch again.
no, we touched on that already. Agree or disagree? Physical attraction is important in a relationship.
I think so. I think it is.
I think so as well.
I think it is.
I think, as much as we all want to say, it's not all about looks and it's more about personality, I would agree a higher percentage of the person you're attracted to should be personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you can find them attractive, but they could have the worst personality.
Yeah.
Or you could find them maybe not as attractive to what your certain type or what the certain type of person you might go for, but the personality wins you over. So I'd say personality is more important than a initial physical attraction, but that's not to say physical attraction is not important. I think it's very important.
But let's be honest, right?
Mhm.
You're never going to start chatting to someone who you're not physically attracted to. So on a
True.
night out,
Mhm.
I would never approach you to get to know your personality
Mhm.
if I didn't find you attractive.
Yeah.
Same with you, vice
So
versa.
I think we're both agreeing on this statement, and I think, it could be a controversial one because there's definitely people out there who say it's not all about looks. But I think, as much as I do agree with it's not all about looks, I think for a lasting, healthy relationship, especially from the start of a relationship, you need to be physically attracted to
You
your
might
partner.
not think they're the best looking, but you think they're
No.
decent looking.
I mean, if
like,
you're holding too high standards, you'll never find that person.
I think when people always say he's not someone who I would normally go for,
Mhm.
that means they're not unattracted, but they'll still give them a go, and then that's when they get to know the personality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's different to being like, I think he's rotten.
Mhm.
Like, you wouldn't talk to them then. Like, let's be honest. Like,
No, you wouldn't. And I
you
think,
wouldn't.
but again, let me ask you this then. And again, I don't want to keep going off topic, but say you're 5 years into the relationship, and we talked about this off camera as well, like that. I think every relationship goes through that phase where both people of the relationship, they're newly in love, they have that kind of newlyweds phase in the relationship. And as we said in this episode, they get a lot of takeaway and they kind of pile on the weight.
I know I
Um,
did.
What do you say to people who maybe, their partner is kind of in the relationship, but they're kind of they're not looking after themselves as much, they're not going to the gym, they're not eating healthy because they're like, well, I'm in a relationship, I don't have to look a certain way.
Well, I can't really answer that because it's never happened to me. So I can kind of revert that back to you because I gained a lot of weight in our relationship. So how did you deal with it? Was there ever a stage where you were like, Jesus?
Yeah.
No, I
There
know. I
was.
know.
Like,
I know.
Like there was a point where
I gained a lot of weight.
Zoe put on a lot of weight, and that was down to the fact that she really hurt her knee in her job in the gym, and it affected her ability to exercise. And
To
obviously,
even walk up the stairs.
and obviously that's gonna, reduce your cardio and the amount of calories you burn and all that stuff, and you're gonna put on weight. But there was a time where Zoe was really heavy. I'm not gonna say that I didn't love you, and I did still find you attractive, but I obviously find you way more attractive to
Yeah.
the way you are now.
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Because this is the way you met me.
Yeah.
You fell in love with me like the way I am now.
But that's not to say that we fell out of love when Zoe had a bit of weight on her.
No, we were still really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we were still really happy, but I just think that
Sorry to cut across you. I probably mentally was more unhappy than you looking at me.
I think it does affect the relationship though, because there was loads of times where you were constantly trying on clothes before nights out and you were beating yourself up and you were like,
Constantly.
this doesn't fit me. Do I look fat and do I do this? And I'm saying I want Zoe to lose weight more so for her.
For me, yeah.
Like, I don't care. Like, I love Zoe no matter what she looks like.
But you did. But you were honest with that. You were
Yeah.
like, I think you need to get up and start going to the gym
Yeah.
for your own mental
your
health.
own
Because
benefit.
it's not good to hear you
Yeah.
put yourself down so
And
much.
obviously, it will help me because I'll see you as a more attractive person, if that makes sense.
So for 2 years of our relationship, Aidan wasn't attracted to me.
No. But it's a sensitive topic for a lot of couples, but you can have
I don't
that-
really find it sensitive though.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We don't find that insensitive. That's why we have
But
this
I think
podcast.
I don't find it sensitive anymore because I've lost a lot of weight.
But
I think if I was still the way I was,
Yeah.
I would find the
but
topic
there's
really hard.
100% couples out there where maybe the fella has put on a lot of weight or the girl has put on a lot of weight and the other partner in the situation is going, Jesus, they've put on a lot of weight. And it's happened where people have fallen out of love with someone. Do you think that's down to physical attraction?
Yeah.
I think it plays a part. I
Yeah,
really, really do.
physical.
So as much as it's not that important, I think it is important as a general thing to also look after yourself in a relationship, because not only does it help your physical appearance, it helps you mentally, it helps the relationship emotionally, to just both look after yourself.
But it was good that even when I was going through that I had the support of you, never being like, yeah, Jesus, you've gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Because
And I think it's wrong, sorry to cut across it, and I think it's wrong, it would have been wrong of me to say, oh, you're perfect the way you are, because that's just feeding you.
but you were like, for yourself, I think you should.
Yeah.
But you were saying it in a nice way. I was in a bad relationship prior to this, and I wouldn't even say I gained weight, like, but it was constantly like, you're fat, you know,
Yeah.
and like that was,
It
I
was,
was,
yeah,
I was like,
emotional verbal
and I
abuse.
was
Yeah.
nowhere near
Yeah.
fat compared to what I gained in our relationship. The roller coaster of weight loss and weight gain is crazy.
So we both agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Anyway. Physical attraction is important in a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both agree. Last one. Couples should have similar values or beliefs in a relationship.
Oh,
Agree
it
or disagree?
depends. Like, what values?
Okay, so I mean,
Sorry.
similar values or beliefs.
I
Like,
know.
that could be anything, and I'm not talking about beliefs religiously. Obviously it helps if you do have the same religious beliefs. But I just think, like, I don't know, like certain values, like, you know,
A deal breaker for me personally, like if you said to me I don't want kids,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm not wasting my time with
Yeah.
you. I want kids.
Yeah.
And that's not me. That's us having to be selfish in a relationship and like
Yeah.
decide. So I think yeah, I agree.
I would agree with that statement as well. And this could be a topic for a whole nother episode, but I think it's very, if you are in a relationship with someone, I think it's very important to establish very on your values and beliefs so you can get it out there on the table.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, you know, those are those person's values and beliefs and they'll never change, because some people do change. But the topic of like kids, marriage, do
Yeah.
we want to live together? Do we want to do this? Okay, we do want to get married. Is it a big wedding? Is it a small wedding? Like, there's so many, you can go down so many avenues of this, but the ultimate thing is, I think they should have similar values or beliefs
Yeah,
for a
definitely.
healthy,
Yeah.
long-lasting relationship.
Because I think what's the point in wasting so many years with someone and then still being stuck in that, but I want this and you want this.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
Like, imagine I was with you and I didn't want kids, and after 5 years I turn around and go, I've made my decision, I don't want kids. It makes a very awkward situation where you're saying to yourself, do I just accept the fact that I'm never going to have kids, or do I just leave them?
I would leave.
I know you
personally,
would,
because I
but it'd be a very
wouldn't
hard thing
give
to
up
do.
my beliefs.
Yeah.
Not like my
But
one.
think if we had had that conversation after the first year or two, you wouldn't have wasted so much time. And
I
you
think
could've-
we did have it
you
really
could- I
earlier
think we did
on,
have
and
it early as well.
I think that's
Yeah.
you kind of have to have, as much as you want to have the fairy tale first year or so. You need to get to the nitty gritty stuff
Yeah.
because
And
you're
I
gonna
think-
waste time.
And I think a lot of older, more mature people who are single, they know
They'll jump on
ask
it in a week.
They'll ask on the first day. Or
Like
after-
literally meeting on a website. I have 3 kids. What about you?
Yeah.
Like-
Any plans for more kids?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We're about on the same
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you married or divorced? Divorced. Same. Would you ever get married again? Probably. Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I think when you're in your early 20s, you don't think about that stuff.
No.
And I think there's a lot of couples out there who maybe did get together in their early 20s and are with each other 4 or 5 years and love each other very much. And all of a sudden, their friends are having kids and they're sitting on the couch one time and go, would you like kids? And they turn around and go, no, I hate kids. Oh my God, deal breaker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and that's a
definitely.
very hard thing to do. And again, that's a conversation for a whole nother episode. But
I definitely think. Yeah, I do. I definitely think your beliefs sometimes have
I
to
think
align.
we can both agree. So I think we agreed on all three of them.
Yeah.
I think jealousy is somewhat healthy in a relationship. We disagreed on that. Physical attraction is important in a relationship. We agreed on that. And couples should have similar values or beliefs in a relationship. We
Yeah,
both agree on
definitely.
that. Again, as I always say in every episode, make sure to leave a comment below. DM us on the Instagram page if there's anything that you agree or disagree, or you want to make a certain point, and we'll go through the best ones on the next episode or when it comes up again. So we're going to go into the last bit of the episode 2, and that is our famous dilemmas. And it's funny because this one kind of ties into what we were just talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know these again.
Again, Zoe's completely blind to these. Again, at the time of recording this, no one has submitted in any because we haven't really put them out. But we've gone onto Reddit again, and I've gotten a juicy one here about marriage. So, ready? My boyfriend of 10 years doesn't want to marry me, ... yet. Should I leave him? He knew from the start that I do want to get married one day, even though I don't want to have children, which he's on board with that as well. But I just love the idea of marriage. He has told me over and over again that he doesn't want to marry me, ... yet. His reason being that he doesn't have a lot of money right now, we both work decent jobs, or that he wants to finish his bachelor studies, which he's also been studying for the past 10 years, etc. I've told him before that it doesn't have to be an expensive wedding, and we would obviously be sharing the costs, but each talk about this ends up with either me crying and him comforting me, or just him being annoyed. Sometimes he tells me that he doesn't want to get married as it won't change our relationship, and there are many couples being happy together for years without ever getting married. Sometimes he promised me that he definitely will marry me one day. I'm tired of waiting, yet I also feel like I might be asking for too much. I try not to pressure him at all, and we maybe talk about it once or twice a year with no end in sight. I then see my friends getting married and get really sad, wondering if I'm waiting for something that will never happen. Am I wrong for thinking about leaving over this, or should I just be happy with the relationship as it is and accept the fact that I'll never get married?
It's quite sad, isn't it?
It is very sad, and I can genuinely, like, that's, again, I say this on all the episodes, that's a real relationship advice question. And you can really feel the emotion in the way she's saying
I think
like 10 years together.
I think he's being selfish.
I agree.
I think he's like using every excuse that he can, bachelor's money, and she's compromising so much by being like, doesn't have to be a big wedding.
And I'm really sad the fact that at the end she's saying, oh, well, I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring him, but every time I talk to him, it ends up in a fight, more or less.
Because that's just an escape
mechanism.
Yeah, sorry. Brain didn't work there.
Yeah.
That's just him escaping a conversation that he doesn't want to have, because I don't think he wants to marry her.
I don't think he does, and he's afraid to tell her.
And I think he's afraid to tell her because he's being selfish.
Yeah.
And she's compromising so much, you know.
Yeah. I think she's been more than patient, but 10 years of being together, like, it's so hard to walk away with something. Like, from what they're talking about in their relationship, and again, I don't know the ins and outs of the relationship, but it seems like they have a very stable relationship if this is the biggest issue. There doesn't seem to be a lot of argument. They're both on good jobs. He's doing his bachelor's, so he's obviously well educated, and so is she, because, as you said, they earn good money. They probably have a really good relationship, and this is their one, Achilles heel. Is that enough to leave over? Like, is that as big as a game changer as we've talked about as them deciding I don't want kids?
I think it could be a game changer.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely, like, if I really, really, really wanted to get married and we were together 10 years.
And I just came out and said, no, I'm not getting married.
But that's when you have to come to the decision. Is it worth me giving up what I want to be in a relationship? Like, sometimes then people decide, all right, well, then it actually doesn't bother me getting married. But I don't know. I just think that it's being a bit selfish.
I agree. And, to couples out there who are listening to this who might be in a similar situation, they might not be there 10 years. There might be couples out there who are with each other over 10 years and they've never even, they're not even engaged, and they're thinking, well, why?
Is it ever going to happen?
Is it ever going to happen? And why has it not happened yet?
You also question, coming from a girl's point of view, it's just like you self-doubt, and then you're like, am I not good enough? Like, why is he putting so much excuses ahead of just, I get financially some people don't have it, but like she's saying, I'm not looking for
she's willing to compromise.
She's looking for the commitment.
Yeah, she's willing to compromise on a small wedding.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be money. Like, you can go to the registry office and just get married with no one there.
And I actually seen a study online when I was looking up loads of stuff for us to talk about, that there was a higher percentage of weddings or marriages like that.
Registry office,
than there was actually big, massive weddings.
A lot of people don't like big weddings anymore.
Obviously, as well, like, we're in a cost of living crisis in Ireland at the moment, so that is a big factor of it as well. But can I say something from my point of view?
Yeah.
On our relationship?
Yeah.
If you never wanted to get married,
you would have never.
I would have never got married. I personally think marriage is a waste of money. But
yeah.
That's just me. That's just me. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's always showing a ring to the camera. I genuinely do, because the money that goes into weddings, like, you're talking 50, 60 grand for one day. And on his point, the only thing I'll agree with, to me, it doesn't really change anything. I know that's my husband, that's my wife, it's nicer, and we have talked about that. But at the same time, in our relationship, I know for a fact you really want to get married.
Yeah, I really
so
want
I'm
to.
happy to go, okay, like, she really wants to get married. Who am I to take that away from her?
But you weren't like, I don't want to get married. You were like, I'd be open to get married.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care.
Doesn't
care. But some people genuinely don't want to get married.
Yeah, but I can't.
But is that because they're not secure in their relationship?
Yeah, I don't know why, like, people would think like that. I don't know why. Like,
a lot of people do think. Some of our friends think like that.
I understand that, like, it is a huge amount of money, and maybe people, as much as they say they have good jobs, they might not have good jobs to the average wage in wherever they're from, the UK or Ireland or whatever, America. But again, like, you can have small weddings, and like, we have friends who wouldn't be on that much money and they are having very small weddings. So way, like, it's It's not. I don't think weddings are a competition to go over and out. And some people see it that way. And look, if you want to spend 100 grand on your wedding, fire away. I don't like. Fair play to you. I wouldn't want to do that.
I'm literally
If I had the money, I would. But like,
I'm literally looking at how I can make my wedding as small as possible.
exactly. Like, you know,
not money related. I just don't want.
we just don't want a big
huge wedding.
But going back to that point, like, you know, like if you're asking me, should she leave? I think no. I think you have to really. I don't know the ins and outs, but you have to give him an ultimatum. It's either you say to him, it's either you get married to me or I walk out that door, and you have to make it as dramatic as that. And I know just from my own personal experience, there was a person I used to work with, and I remember it was around the time I got engaged to you.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, she was like an older colleague, probably in her 40s. She's with her boyfriend 12 years, and she's in her 40s now. And she was saying to me how disappointed she is that her boyfriend has never proposed to her. And the amount of times they've gone away to really nice places like Dubai and America and all these fancy places, and she thinks this is going to be the time. And it really gave me it from a female's point of view, like, this is where he's going to show me how much he loves me. And it just never happened. And she genuinely said to me, he has another year and I'm leaving him. And I was like, 13 years like that, all down the drain. She was like, it doesn't matter, Aidan. If he really, really loves me, he knows how much I want this. Prove it.
Yeah.
And it is. And as much as that sounds selfish to the girl, you have to remember that the man has been selfish for the last 13
years
by not getting married.
And if it's something that he doesn't want to do, all he like, that's someone, I don't want to say stringing along because they're obviously in a good relationship, but it's kind of stringing along.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to get married, you would just say, I don't want to get married.
Yeah, and I think that's her biggest issue in that problem there.
It's
that she's being string along, and it's constantly like, oh, we will get married. I just have to do this, or I just have to do this, and all of a sudden, 10 years I've gone.
If you don't want to get married, just say, I don't want to get married. Yeah. But I think it's the stringing along it's giving them false hope.
I think we both agree that certain situation, he doesn't want to get married.
No,
and he's afraid to tell her because he knows she'll leave.
Yeah, and he's being selfish.
Yeah. So, but like, if that's the case, then just get married. Like, just get married. Like, it's one day, get it over and done with. You keep.
Just even give her engagement ring. She'd be happy with that. That's what I kept saying. I was like,
no.
I was like, it's just because obviously we would go back and forward about it, and he'd be like, what did you'd be like, oh yeah, same thing. You'd be like, I want to wait until I have the right amount of money to get you a nice ring.
And
I was just like, I don't care what ring you get me. Like, it doesn't have to be a big, huge ring. It's just a commitment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's something that maybe fellas don't understand, that the girls just want
commitment.
Just want the commitment. They just want to be able to say, yeah, like, he's like, yeah, just.
If I'm not, if I'm being honest, they just want a ring.
Yeah, they just
want a ring.
So
they just want to be sitting there with a ring on their finger.
Remember I said it to you last point before we end the episode. Remember I said to you, I was like, yeah, girls get a ring worth a couple of grand. What do the lads get? What did you say?
A happy wife.
Yeah. Me. What I said to her, I said, you get a ring worth X amount. What do I get? And you were like, me.
Yeah, you get me for the rest of your life.
I'm priceless. But no, yeah, I think we can both agree that she needs to have an ultimatum in there.
Yeah,
and if you are a couple going through something similar, you know, maybe send in your specific situation and we can talk about it on the podcast. But
sometimes you have to be a little bit selfish.
I think ultimately she's let it go too far and let it go on too long.
Herself.
And she needs to come to give him an ultimatum.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
So that brings us up to the hour mark. That has been episode 2. Again, if you're listening to this on your audio devices, whatever you're listening to on these days, make sure you, I don't know, can you like stuff on Spotify?
I think you can like it.
I think you can review it. Give us a 5-star review and we'll repay you something.
Listen.
No, honest to God, if you did get this far, first off, thank you very much for listening to this far. We really do appreciate everyone who tunes into the podcast, gives us feedback and listens throughout. It does really, really go a long way. And if you are listening on YouTube, of course, and you can see our pretty faces, we really appreciate it. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more stuff. And again, we want to be as interactive with our listeners and our audience as much as possible. So don't be afraid to comment down below or DM us on Instagram. Everything you do and say, I feel like I'm reading out someone's rights.
I think if you were to say will be used against you in the law.
No, I meant to say everything you say to us will be anonymous on the show. We won't say, oh, so-and-so message, some girl named whatever messaged me and her fella Darren is doing this and blah, blah, blah. We're not going to be like that. We're not that stupid. But that is the end of episode 2. And you want to say?
No, just really appreciate everyone listening and watching.
Just copying me, as always. But yeah, that is episode 2. Thanks very much. And we'll see you next week for next week's episode. So
Episode 3.
peace out. Take care.